Hi, and welcome to the Tap Into It podcast, where each week I have the ultimate pleasure of interviewing wellness professionals operating in their area of genius. And today it is a double whammy, if you will. I have both Donnie Martinez and Reif here from Canyon City. And we are just jazzed to have you guys here representing the Society of the Sacred Stoned Apes and also the Infinite Healing Apothecary Wellness Center, correct? Did I
Yes.
say that correctly?
Those are both large enough.
They are.
I can't we named them that.
No, I
Get
think
to this trouble.
no, it's great. And I'm glad that you guys are here and that
for having us.
excited to have you here today, Ken. And thank you for coming back, Donnie.
My pleasure, Ravyn.
Yeah, I'm just excited to hear your version through your lens, if you will, about how this healing tribe came together in Canyon City.
Yeah, I think it started, 20-something years ago. Donnie and I were in the fight game. And he was a promoter, coach, trainer, asshole, all in one.
I knew we were going to go there.
So we knew of each other, but we didn't hang out or nothing. He was struggling with his own issues. I was myself struggling with addiction to pharmaceuticals, really heavy with the opiates, Vicodin stuff. We parted ways, and I don't know, maybe 5 years ago, we stumbled across. So his mom, me and my wife, Tammy, had been involved with addiction recovery and working with veterans for about 10, 15 years. His mom was part of one of our groups, Perks and Young People in Recovery. And I mean, his mom is the Mother Teresa of Fremont County.
Oh,
So she kept talking about her son, Donnie, and struggling, and I was feeling better. We were doing this addiction day in the park, a recovery day in the park. And so I have been using marijuana, hemp, and psilocybin for quite a while to help people get off drugs and alcohol. And so this group that we had formed was based off that. So it was a new thing. And we're at the park, and then I see Donnie Martinez across the way. And I was like, what is Donnie fucking Martinez? And then the mom comes over, grabs me by the elbow, and goes, Ken, I want you to meet my son, Donnie, and starts walking toward Donnie Martinez. I'm like, why is she walking toward Donnie Martinez? And I look at her, she's a small lady, and I look at Donnie, and I'm like, oh my God, this is Donnie.
oh.
And I think the introduction was, hey, this is Ken, this is Donnie. And we're like, yeah, we know each other. And his mom goes, so you get the magic mushrooms from Ken for your dad. Oh, shit, don't be. I was a videographer. I wasn't a fighter. I was a videographer. I set up on the cage and stuff like that. He asked me a few questions and said he'd like to try it. So that's kind of how we got started. But a couple years later, I was doing a PTSD group, and we were talking about the psychedelics that had been decriminalized in Colorado. Somebody mentioned DMT, and I was like, I never heard of DMT. So I'm a former Army military police officer, retired bail bondsman, fugitive recovery agent, and did coroner calls in Fremont County for quite a while. Never heard of DMT. So I'm like, what is DMT? And the dude next to me nudges me and he goes, I got it. And he gives me this card. And I'm like, what is it? And he goes, don't Google it. So I Google it right there. And like, there's no way I'm going to do this because it's Joe Rogan talking about blasting people into outer space. And I'm like, this is stupid. But I'm going to keep it in my pocket just in case. For some reason, I hung on to it for 3 weeks. Literally got home, took it out of my pocket, put it on my dresser, woke up in the morning, put it in my pocket, and went to work at our CBD company. And one day, Donnie came in, and another buddy of ours who was from New York, very loud and obnoxious, and a Department of Corrections officer, guard. He comes in, they come in together. I jokingly take out my pen. I'm like, hey, let's try DMT. And the New Yorker goes, I'll do it. And me and Donnie are looking like, so he takes it, he takes a little hit of it. Thank God he took a little hit of it. And I kept asking, how you feeling? He has his eyes closed. It's just like putting his finger up. Comes out and goes, I'm annoying. And we're like, what? He's annoying.
Yeah, very annoying.
He doesn't have a New York accent, loud and obnoxious. And I'm like, give me that thing. So I take it and I don't see anything, but like, I was not thinking of anything. There was not a thought in my head, which ADHD, trauma from life in the military and bail bonds. There was nothing. I thought at first, oh shit, I think it erased my memory. And then I think they were asking something. They were talking about a ball game or something. And then one of them asked what time it was on. I'm like, 7:00. How the hell did they do that? I'm not even thinking. Then I got this feeling that it told me, you're an asshole, you're your own biggest problem, and you shouldn't expect yourself out of others. And I was like, oh my God, I think I did this wrong. Because these guys, they're having profound experiences. So then Donnie did it, and he had a profound experience. Then I waited. I don't think we did it. Next day we met up and we're like, holy shit, we're going to do it again. And we're like, no, I don't feel like we need to do it.
Nah, nobody wanted to do it.
So it was like 3 weeks in, and I got a bunch of my combat vet buddies to come in, and I'm telling them, like, come in and watch. I'm going to take a hit, and I'm not going to be thinking of nothing. And for some reason, they were convinced, like, I got to see this. How do you prove it? How do you prove it? So they come in. My wife's there. We're in a dark warehouse on the river. It just doesn't even make
That's a
sense.
vibe.
Pitch dark. And I take a bigger hit, and I'm trying to talk, and my wife's like, shut up and just let it work. I take a bigger hit, and yeah, it was crazy. I came out of it bawling like a baby. And what happened after that was like unbelievable. And almost like flatliners kind of thing. Like 2 days later, there was a reason why I took a bigger dose. I set an intention to tell one of my old high school buddies, my best friend growing up, was murdered in a parking lot. And it was in Texas around Christmas, and they didn't know. It was unsolved. So I went home on leave and attended his funeral on my birthday. So I swore vengeance. I'm an MP. I'm going to get out and I'm going to find out that I couldn't just do it. And it was like 38 years later. Every Christmas around that time on my birthday, I became an asshole around my family and everything because I couldn't keep my problems. A couple days later, I'm feeling really good. I'm like, man, I don't think I'm going to have that problem this year. And then I get an email because I'm checking my emails to see my orders through my website. And I get a letter from this lady, and she goes, you don't know me, but I was with your best friend the night he was murdered. Here's what happened. And I freak out. My wife's calling Donnie, you need to get over here. And yeah, it's some crazy stuff after that. I mean, basically, they reopened the case, and there's an investigation. I got all the paperwork, unfortunately, including the crime scene photos, but I was good with it because it's kind of like be careful what you wish for. But that's what got started. It was something that we should have. I literally said, I'm never doing this again. This is too much like Flatliner. Because how did this lady reach out to me? I'm still friends with her.
That was the start of us learning that if you get out of your own way, the synchronicity will start to appear. And things will just come through that you can't make human sense of. There's just this divine synchronicity across this entire thing. And we figured that out between that and a few other doses.
And we're wearing around concentrate pens to recovery groups and smell like
yeah, it kind of smells like death. Terpenes, yeah. Because by then, Prop 122 had gotten voted on. So it was legal to carry. Basically, the cops can't take it from you because it's your mental health medicine. We had these big concentrate that we'd keep right there on a lanyard because we're like, who's going to be the first one to get pulled over and challenge this law? So for a while, we did that. Just kind of hubristically almost even, right? And you get a waft of that coming out, and you're like, oh, God, yeah, that's the smell of death. I didn't put terpenes in it or something. Yeah, so it was later we learned that we needed to dilute the medicine, put it into terpenes, be able to moderate the range where we use it at so we weren't just blasting people out.
Yeah.
And I had this award-winning chemist walk into my shop one day, and he's like, what do you do here? And I told him, he told me what he did. And he goes, you want to put your CBD in my lotion? And I'm like, sure. Do you want to smoke a joint? And he's like, sure. You like mushrooms? Sure. So then the DMT came into play, and he didn't want nothing to do with that. I can't have nothing to do with that stuff because I'm like, can you make this for me? could you make it so clean? And to be like, I can't. And it would. It took about 2 years for him to, and his wife to go, look, I'm gonna make it for you. Don't tell anybody. I'm like, absolutely. I won't tell anybody. We won't put it on film. Yeah. And then we get on, Donnie's doing podcasts and a radio show and get Shannon on there. Shannon's like, screw it. This is what we're doing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, after a while, everybody just came out with what they were doing. We got more and more comfortable. We always thought from the beginning some people were going to show up, and that's why we wore the pens.
Yeah.
Who's going to show up first? Who's going to challenge this law? Who's going to challenge what we're doing? And it seems everywhere we go, people are actually waiting on us.
But the name of the Society of the Sacred Stoned Apes came from a church group that were really cool with what we were doing with addiction, with weed and CBD and mushroom microdosing. The DMT was going a little bit too far, you know.
Sure.
That's cheating, getting in closer to God.
Ooh, I like you mentioned that.
Yeah. So the pastor was pretty much saying, hey, just be careful around these people. We think they're starting a cult. And
Oh my goodness.
okay. Well, let's give them a name. So came up with Society of the Sacred Stoned Apes.
It's the most culty
cult
name they
ever.
could find.
Made t-shirts, hats, stickers, and thought me and Donnie are going to be wearing it. And my wife, Tammy, but then everybody want old ladies wearing them to Walmart.
I mean, I wanted a bag for sure.
Ooh,
You have
that's a good
bags, tote bags?
We have the
Medicine bags.
Yes.
Ooh. Yes, please.
But yeah, we saw that we were doing something good in the community. We were calling it harm reduction because we understood.
Yes.
I've been in the marijuana industry, the hemp industry, now the psychedelic industry. Colorado at no time ever thought marijuana was going to be decriminalized.
Right.
So they didn't have a system in place.
Right.
Same with psychedelics. So we knew there was going to be a big gap and people were going to be growing mushrooms and taking all kinds of psychedelics. And we're like, we're going to come have a safe space where people can come and we will teach them how to use this stuff. The least amount necessary to give you a benefit.
Which is so important because not everybody is a candidate firstly, but you guys are making sure that you're identifying those who are and then empowering folks who are. And also, I think that what you described with the church saying that's a little too much in the culty, yes, society is going to push back on these new norms. But what happened is you evolved out of the space you were in and you needed your own container. And I think that one reason that I want so many folks to get out of their little bubbles and come and support each other is so that we can recognize that and then find out how to support those containers, even when we, like the church doesn't agree on a lot. But it'll be a container for folks who say, all right, I still like these guys, but we need help here. And what a beautiful evolution.
It's everybody. They know and they get told by their doctors. I think that's the weirdest part is when we started doing this, nobody knew what to do with DMT. It was super scary. We started working with some people and some friends of ours, not knowing who their doctor was, not knowing they were in therapy. I start dosing this lady and she'd go back to her doctor and her doctor go, what are you doing different? Because you're not anxious and you're not in pain. And then she'd go, I'll tell you next time I come. And then she'd come over to my office and go, can I tell him? And I'm like, sure, go ahead. So then he comes over, he goes, what are you giving him? Can I try it? And then they're bringing everybody because he's like, oh my God, this is crazy. And that happened with my wife's doctor and therapist. It's just all these different people going, why do you feel better? Nothing has changed, but you're coming in going, hey, I'm fine. And I want to get off my SSRIs or I want to get off pain med. I want to quit drinking. I mean, this is something that they've been struggling with. The DMT just kind of, I don't know, it gives you a temporary reset back to the original factory settings, your baseline, where you know you can be, you just got to work to get there.
The default mode network.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know, that was almost its own phenomenon. The people who would, on their own, hey, maybe I should stop doing SSRI. I want to get off of these pain pills. The same way we all joined up together the next day after doing DMT, and we said, no, I don't need any DMT. I'm just good today. There's this pull for people to go, man, maybe I just should get off these pharmaceuticals. It's not something we ever had to push in particular. It just came up on its own.
We're tired of being a sick nation. And there's many of us here already, or maybe all of us actually, who have been on some type of a healing journey, recovery journey, healing journey, and been subject to the system. And one thing that I think is interesting, especially with the comparison of the veteran space, is being in it and seeing it not working too. Because so many folks in our country don't have access to healthcare, and we know that is a thing, which is one thing that I love about what you're doing because it's super accessible and affordable.
And affordable.
And also, folks who do have the care still don't have the way to go and get the actual treatments that they know intuitively that they are seeking for them. And I'm grateful that you guys are pushing forward to this
And
initiative.
we push people, again, we are not therapists.
Right.
We do more triage.
Yes.
You're coming in, we work with a lot of suicidal people. The doctors and therapists are like, hey, just go down there, just dose, because they know it works. It can get them out of that headspace to where they're like, I don't even know why I was mad.
Yeah.
I don't know why I was angry and stressed out over something I have no control over. And it's so quick and simple. Then you come in, do it, and go about your day. You can't do that with anything else.
No, we can't. And I love that you have been drawing patients that are entering geriatric age, because one thing that I'm noticing from a mental health standpoint, at least in people that go into retirement, is not only are statistics real and folks who retire and then fall out of a purpose, within 6 to 8 years, we're looking at mortality rates, right? And also, I'm recognizing that 60 is maybe the new 40 or 45. And there's so much programming that happens by the time you get to retirement age that this is an opportunity to actually reset all of that programming in those areas and to sincerely get a new lease on life and want to continue to be here. Would you agree?
Yeah. People get so attached to their jobs as their identity.
Yeah.
But they have such a hard time transitioning out of that. And this is a great thing to do upon retirement because it'll release some of those networks.
Yeah.
And instead of having the depression that comes with, oh man, I don't get to do that anymore, it opens you up to what's the next phase of my life? How can I serve people better, even better than I was before in this new phase of my life?
Especially first responders retiring and military people retiring, because you're not doing the same stuff you did.
No.
I had a hard time going from being able to chase people down, kick in doors, arrest people to not. And I couldn't even go through a roundabout without getting pissed off at somebody. I love the fact that it helps us understand that most people, when you do DMT, okay, I'm a big part of my own problem. And I think we need to understand that in order to grow.
I agree. Yeah.
So I'd see it all the time, and I can tell everybody I dose. So I said, go ahead and set an intention. And I tell them the story about the first time I did it, where it told me I was the problem. I opened them up to where they can come out and go, hey, I'm the problem too. Rather than like, oh shit, I think it's my wife because she's always complaining about things. But no, it is really nice to kind of understand like what you need to work on, rather than have other people tell you like, you're an asshole, you need to work on your anger, need to be more proactive and less reactive.
And in a way that allows you to confront the issue without that trigger sensation too. It's just that sense of knowing that settles in, would you say?
No.
Oh, shoot, here's the cheat codes.
Yeah.
Okay, I can change things now.
When an outside person tells you, there's that resistance, right? Like, oh, no, that's not my real problem. But when it's your own subconscious, it says, you're like, damn, all right, yeah, I mean, it must be right. It's coming from within me. So maybe that's the right answer. Even if it does take 2 or 3 times.
Yeah,
never repeat it to you. Right? Yep, it's me.
And I think that having that as a hope, as a last ditch effort for folks that I just want to put out here, experiencing suicidal ideation. And Donnie and I talked about this at the last time, but there's an option. If you think that there is no other option, you can contact Donnie and Ken, go to Canyon City and go to the clinic. And there is a new way to view what you're experiencing.
And now we do treat people in Colorado Springs too.
That's right. Yeah, you do.
Sacred Space Therapeutics. just down the road from here.
Yes.
And I just want to note too that we've seen dozens of people in both suicidal and homicidal ideation. And I don't recall one that we didn't pull them pretty well completely out of that. And they don't go back to that way of thinking. And sometimes these are people for decades that have been caught in that perseverating wash of, I don't deserve to be here. I should probably just take this into my own hands. And then those are the people we dose big. Upon that first treatment, it seems to relieve them of nearly all of that thought. And it never comes back on the same level. I'm confident saying that because I want people out there knowing you don't have to keep suffering like that. You've already suffered for years, and you've probably tried 5 or 6 medicines, 3 or 4 therapists. And if it's not making sense yet, we have this thing that just helps it make ultimate sense. The first time you dose it, 6 minutes later, you usually come out and go, man, this ain't that bad. I feel really calm. I feel good about this.
Because our environment is so important. And I think that the truth that is still going to be hard for me to accept in my adult years is that we really are in control of our reality. Our days, the way that we structure them, the people that are in it, we have choice in that. And it is a choice to stay caught in those thought loops too, right? Not that you're to blame for the thought loops. I don't want anybody to think I'm saying that. Sometimes you're just a product of all the exposure that you've had. But yeah, I love that there's a way to get out of it because the SSRI roller coaster, my least favorite sport for sure.
Yeah.
And I have been on it.
Mine as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
It's a real tough one. We deal with a lot of people that are just ready. They've been on for years, and it's always so crazy. And I ask people, how long you been on your SSRI? Well, about 15 years. When did it quit working? Oh, about 10 years ago.
What's changed since then? Not a lot, right?
The DMT works in really well with the SSRIs to where you
Is that
don't
right?
really have to stop taking them. You just go really slow and low with them.
That's curious. Say more about that.
The only things that I don't like dosing people actively on that day is gabapentin, alcohol, and kratom.
Oh, wow.
We've dosed people on everything else. Most of the time, people wouldn't even tell us what they're on until the next time they come in.
Oh, my gosh.
And there's not harmful contraindications with those things he mentioned. It's just the DMT can't do what it needs to.
Right.
Sure.
With those 3.
Almost like they're fighting over the same territory.
Yeah.
The receptors, yeah, that makes sense. And gabapentin, ooh, that's a mean one. So after my auto accident, they gave me, what was it, 9 to 1,200 milligrams a day, and said that's good for you with the brain injury. It's your pain. What? And now being wiser and knowing that no more than 300 milligrams should be in a day, and really, should we be taking this at
I have
all?
a client that is on probably 3,800 milligrams a day.
You know, gabapentin is the new opioid, right? And I don't mean because it's replacing opioids for pain. I mean because they're handing that out like candy.
Yeah.
Like they used to hand out opioids 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's a shame what our system is doing with that. They're handing out gabapentin for anxiety.
Yeah.
And then we had one of the patients came down from a mental health facility, and he was clean, and they told him to go do kratom for anxiety from a mental health institution. Imagine that. An addictive substance, synthetic heroin. We need you to go get this liquid synthetic heroin to help you with your anxiety.
Oh, my God.
The system keeps consistently getting it wrong.
Yeah.
And I think it's just because they don't know any better.
Agreed.
They don't know these new tools. They don't know these new options. So they fall back on what they think they know. But we call it the failed era of Freud and fluoxetine for a reason. Those are the 2 subsets of things they deal with. Talk therapy and this group of SSRIs and SNRIs. And they get so conditioned to thinking that those were the relief. That was the way. But we get people all the time. I've been just washed for 30 years. Talk therapy and SSRIs. And they haven't made improvement.
My therapist of 20 years just retired.
Oh.
What am I going to do?
Yeah.
Like,
Why were you seeing that therapist for 20 years?
We see a lot of good therapists, but we also see the people that are just trying to retain clients so they can retire and live in Mexico or whatever. But
There's going to be a churn for sure.
which is why we're also getting into the JMAT programs, right? Getting into their jail medically assisted treatment programs, because the same thing, right? You have this system that gives people in jails and coming out of jails synthetic heroin.
Yep.
Suboxone, Subutex, methadone, all of that. And you don't have to be an addict necessarily. And you can be hanging out in jail doing just fine, 12 months of recovery. And you get bored, and all the homies that are already getting Subutex and everything are like, here's what you say when the bus pulls up, and you can start getting it too. And now you have somebody who is clean who's now addicted to something that is actually more addictive than fentanyl. We know because of the half-life of these substances, it's harder for us to even get people off of all these subs than it is to get somebody off of heroin. Because you've gotten how many people off heroin? Quite a few, right?
Yeah.
Between fentanyl and heroin, quite a few. But there's something about the half-life of Subutex and Suboxone that makes it quite a different run.
Wild.
It just takes a long time to wash out of your system. So instead of just offering that to people, our goal is to be able to offer DMT to those same people. Yeah. Work within the jails, set it up there. And then when people get out, we can offer them a new way of living through a different substance. Something that's already made in your body, something that's already pulsing out of your brain.
That you don't crave.
You don't crave it when we prove that in a sober living home.
Yeah.
It's like you know, like a suspect.
Oh, wow. Really? Say more about that.
100% rate in there. It was great. We had 12 people over time, usually average about 6 people within the house, in the sober living house. And then we started having our society, the Sacred Stoned Apes meetings in there.
Nice.
And time and again, people would go without the medicine, even though we were offering it for free. And we weren't getting relapses. We weren't getting recidivism into the system. These people were just doing so great behaviorally.
Yeah.
Because it was giving them a different type of relief. And then, of course, we were in there once a week, doing the meetings, giving them the work, bringing in outside experts, walking them through how to create a new life for themselves. Because that's the thing, right? You can't just do the medicine. You got to do the work.
You do.
And that's why we're developing an app right now.
Yeah.
The Harmony app is going to walk people through how to meditate, how to journal, along with a few other things.
How to feel.
Yeah, how to feel again is the big thing. Everything else we do within this system of jail and recovery, all the other options besides psychedelics are how to mute your feelings.
I know.
How to pack it down further. What we're offering is how to feel more, which is actually crazy. We're telling you, I need you to feel more. 2 assholes that cry now, right? His story earlier, he came out of it crying. I've come out crying. I've said it before. My favorite thing to do on psilocybin's cry.
Honestly,
Please give me
it's
that
cleansing.
release. Yeah. I want to feel more. I suppressed this
Yeah.
for way too long. And that made me so sick.
I don't think either of us had sympathy, let alone empathy, or we start doing the great. And that's the first thing I felt was like, I want to help everybody. I want to give everything away for free. I just wanted to. It was crazy. My wife's like, okay, we can help as many people as we want, but gotta make a little bit of money because this stuff was pretty expensive.
Yeah.
You know, we had already built a business around our son's story. Our son Chase, at the age of 10, was misdiagnosed with ADHD. They put him on all this crap over the next 4 years. The medications that they had him on were making him hallucinate. He thought he was seeing people in his room. Tachycardia, in and out of the hospital a couple times a week, thinking he was having a heart attack. They decided they were going to bump up his dose of Concerta, dumped it up at 14 to an adult dose, which 2 weeks later shut down his dopamine production and paralyzed him from the waist down. And they're like, they flight him to Children's Hospital. They're like, probably never walk again. By the way, he doesn't have ADHD. He has generalized epilepsy. He was having what's called absence seizures. So the age of 14 in Colorado, you can make your own medical decisions, which I wasn't cool about when they first admitted him. But when they came and told him, like, hey, we got to get you up to ADHD medications and put you on anti-epileptic, he's like, I ain't taking shit. So we honored it. And they set him up with a neurologist. We went there in his wheelchair and he tried to get him on anti-epileptics and Chase said no. And I said, hey, can we get him a med card? Epilepsy, it's new. And he said, okay, cool. He signed off on it. Then my medical marijuana doctor signed off on it on his license. Could do 2 signatures for a minor. Then we get him a med card. The only place that you can get CBD at that time was pretty much Colorado Springs, Charlotte's Web. We reached out to Realm of Caring up here, and they're like, yeah, we'll put him on the list. It's about a 9-month waiting list. And I was like, we can't wait 9 months. And so me being a pot guy, I used marijuana to get off all my pharmaceuticals. I knew that if you cold press fresh cannabis, you get a compound called THCA. THCA is non-psychoactive unless you heat it. So pressed a bunch of it, warmed it into a tincture, into MCT coconut oil. And that's when we started microdosing, giving him 1 drop, waiting 4 hours, nothing. His big thing was brain fog. We weren't trying to get him out of his wheelchair. We weren't, but we were telling him, look, don't think this is permanent.
That's right.
We're trying to get rid of his brain fog. 1 dose, wait 4 hours. 2 dose, wait 4 hours. So about a couple of weeks into it, we got him up to like 16 drops, and his brain fog started going away. So I was like, cool, we're going to give him this dose in the morning, this dose in the afternoon. There was nobody at that time that could tell us, how do you dose a kid with epilepsy?
Right.
With any of this stuff. They're just like, we're going to give you a license. But if you do something bad to him, that's on you.
Yeah.
And Child Protective Services is waiting in the wings for something to happen.
Although he can make his own decisions.
Which they did. They did show up. CPS did show up. So 6 months after he was paralyzed, he started walking. 2 months after that, CPS tried to get involved. So they wanted us to put him back on medications and get him off this, give him the middle finger. My wife messed with him for about 4 months, and then finally they just said, okay, we can't do anything. If you have a license and he's doing good, I mean, if he was still in a wheelchair, we probably wouldn't have a leg to stand on.
That was a good pun.
A year after he becomes paralyzed and he's walking, we take him in for another EEG. So what was happening, originally when he was diagnosed, they'd hook him up with an EEG. They'd have him hyperventilate, and then the seizures would start. They were absent seizures.
Yep.
You just kind of blank out. They weren't drop seizures.
I have a cousin who has a little girl. I lived with her. And it's terrifying.
It is. They show it like he's having a seizure, and they ask Chase how he's doing. How you doing, Chase? And he just doesn't respond. Jump ahead 6 months after he's walking, they hook him up, and they see the spikes, and they ask him, how you doing, Chase? And he's doing good. I'm like, whoa. He's having a seizure on there, but it's not presenting itself. The neurologist says it out loud to Chase, and Chase is like, cool, can I get a driver's permit? With epilepsy and medical marijuana, it was unheard of. And this neurologist said, this is crazy, what's going on? Let's try it. Don't tell the DMV that you're epileptic or you got taking marijuana. Your parents are going to have to be in the car with you. If they see anything that looks suspicious, you're done driving. There's a reason. We've been involved with the Pikes Peak Hill Climb, Colorado Hill Climb, Superbike racing, MMA fighting. Chase was supposed to race when he turned 16. There's no such thing as an epileptic racer. There's no such thing as a 16-year-old kid allowed to race on a hill climb truck on marijuana. So we got that to happen when he turned 16. A couple weeks after he turned 16, put him in a 750 horsepower Pikes Peak Hill Climb truck.
Oh, his poor mama.
Put him in the Colorado Hill Climbs, and a great team of people helped him get there. And he podiumed every race.
Oh my God.
And then at 17, we put him on a Pikes Peak Hill Climb quad. Put him in ice racing in a bear tire class. And 5 weeks later, he ended up the state ice racing champion.
Oh my gosh. Good job, Chase.
I think that's what got us confident to go into psychedelics.
I understand.
Because they're like, hey, you can't give kids weed. I'm like, watch. And it's going to help.
My goodness, it is the most natural. And we have a whole endocannabinoid system that nobody talks about. And for seizures,
we talk about it. We talk about
I'm
it.
sure you do.
We send this stuff all over the country to other children that are dealing with this kind of stuff.
I was going to ask, what year was this? Because
2018 is when it won the ice racing championship. 2016, it was paralyzed.
Oh, bless him. My cousin's daughter lived here. No joke. that year during the summertime. And then it was a year or two later that I remember reading about people migrating here. Maybe it was your story because of off-stop seizures and epilepsy and people that have toddlers. And you can't reason with a toddler to get them to do the things that they need to. And to know that there was something so natural to our system just made me so encouraging.
Also, placebo
hear.
effects doesn't really work on
Toddlers
toddlers
or
animals.
seizures.
Or
Yeah.
animals. So even though when it's working,
Yeah.
you can't say it's a placebo effect.
Right.
Because a lot of you want to say, oh, it's a placebo effect. Who cares? Who cares if it's a placebo effect?
Absolutely.
But yeah, I think that's what gave us the confidence to go, hey, psilocybin is working for people. The marijuana, Fremont County is very conservative, so having a psychedelic place down there is just like,
Springs finally legalized rec marijuana, right? And
Just
the
last
city
year.
still doesn't have it.
no.
Wow.
So there's no recreational marijuana.
Even though marijuana is marijuana, you can use recreational marijuana for sleep, for anxiety, for pain. Actually, we prefer it because you're using less. It's a lower amount of THC. That being said, we are going to work on recreational marijuana in Canyon City.
That's right. Yeah, it's coming out.
With you guys having a clinic there and also having the Society of the Sacred Stoned Apes, do you also have integration groups that you're running once a month or
Once a
often?
week.
Once a week?
Weekly, we get together and group with Alice. It was intersex before, and currently it's just on the male side of things.
And we
What
will
do you
be bringing
mean?
up a woman side and stuff, but it just didn't work well together. It was big. We had a
Wow.
pretty big group.
We got up to 34 people a couple weeks in a row.
Wonderful. We do need those separate containers, though, and I think that it is great for men, especially, to have those. You see it a lot in the healing community where there's women that are getting together and having groups, and men are welcome, but there's nothing quite like having a specific container that men feel safe to come into and unpack because it allows you another layer that you can unpack, right? When it's all dudes. And it's the same for women too sometimes, right? And I think that is good and okay. And also appreciate that you're thinking about doing that for women because, yeah, the integration piece is the work that you said that we can't bypass.
It's super important.
Just the opportunity to tell your story and be trans in a safe space. That's the big piece where I usually care.
Right.
And speaking it takes its power away. The negative things, if you're speaking out particularly, you need that safe space with people who are going through the same walk to be able to speak that out.
Okay.
And then vice versa, right? You can speak power into the situation all the same. And when you have those peers around you in full support, typically they are the ones speaking the power back into you too. Everybody
Yeah.
tells their vulnerable story and they're like, oh no, man, that's okay, man. You handled that really good. Like, let's keep on track with all that. That's beautiful.
Well, this is a perfect segue into sharing your stories, right?
Yeah.
This is Heal to Be Healed. It's time to thrive. And it was authored by many folks, but primarily Tony Lee, Ford, Curtis McCoy, and you are in here, correct?
Yes, this is the second book of hers that I've written a chapter in. And it's a healing anthology. So there's about a dozen stories in each book about particular ways that people heal. And in this book, I wrote about my transition going from being just in sobriety over to recovery. And what did that for me was using the medicines. It was getting reintroduced to Ken as fucking Donnie, of course.
Donnie fucking Martin.
I was just sober in the beginning, white knuckling it, struggling through. So I met these guys and they showed me the other way that it didn't have to suck, that you didn't have to be a dry drunk who was still angry, wanting to fight the world, that sympathy and empathy and new ways to love were available that didn't make any sense to me before. He said earlier, that's a great way to put it. We didn't even have sympathy, let alone empathy, because there's levels to this stuff, right?
Sure.
And then to be able to be granted that empathy through the medicine. And that's the piece I had to tell is how valuable the medicine is if you want to learn to walk without all the rest of that stuff.
Wow. I'm really excited to read it sincerely and grateful that there are folks that are coming together to put these things on paper and to distribute them so that folks know there's a way. As I've said before, there's a way. And also, you guys are just doing sincerely God's work. Just by going against the churn, the current, if you will, because I know that this isn't easy. I know that we're fighting the algorithm. We're fighting being silenced. We're fighting societal norms. We're pushing back against the machine that's kept us sick and isolated and broke and broken. And you're going to be met with some adversity, but it's really cool that we're all getting to know each other in these spaces and that we can band together to make this change because the nation is ready. And I think keep people in Colorado are ready. And just like folks who are in the detention centers that you've spoken about, there's family members and loved ones at home waiting for them to be better versions of themselves, right? This isn't just hope for those who have been using or those who are feeling hopeless or those who come from a background in history that you're in environments that shaped and molded you to be something you don't like anymore. What a wonderful way for caregivers and supporters to know, hey, maybe, just maybe, this isn't so crazy. And if you have been in relationships with those who have been dealing with addiction, caregiver burnout is real. What do you say about DMT for caregiver burnout?
That's impressive. A lot of people get to the point they're like, look, I can't fix this person. I can't fix this situation. I'm just not going to focus on it. And that's what a lot of people have to get to. Like, all right, I still love this person. I'm still going to live in here, but I'm not going to enable it or I'm going to leave. There's a lot of that, you know, with jobs and relationships. And because if you can't change your environment, you got to change your environment.
What I think I am hearing you say is that people are giving themselves permission to be their most authentic selves.
Mhm.
And by confronting the things that were presented with the medicine, such as, hey, here's the list of the problems that you won't look at when you're awake.
Right.
I think it's incredible. And I really love the way that this conversation has kind of peeled back those layers as well, because there's a lot to be done. But my gosh, you guys have come a long way. And sometimes it's just being in the moment. Somebody staring you in your OFO saying, you did it. You already did it. And now it's not if, it's when.
Can be
That's
pretty
good.
easy to us. When you say,
Yeah.
I mean,
But we keep showing up places where there is no resistance
Wonderful.
or people seem to be waiting.
like Rotary Club.
What?
Yeah.
We knew this stuff was
Yeah.
out there. We were waiting for somebody to show up with it
I
in
can see
day.
you with a thing. I'll be in the
I
little
think that-
car.
I think that
I got film on my phone and they drive it
Yeah.
in cars. Nah.
There it is.
no, Donnie's done one or two speeches in front of the Rotary Club, which I'm part of, and starting a companion club.
We're gonna make a psychedelic Rotary Club.
Pretty much.
So
Really?
instead of doing it places where alcohol is super accessible, like most of these meetings for everything is, right?
Right.
We're gonna make it less alcohol based.
That's the
It's just
California
alcohol.
sober gal. I thank
Yep,
you.
yep.
I thank you.
Well, yeah. I mean, if people want to drink, they can drink, but it shouldn't just be like, let's just base everything around alcohol
Right.
or in sales and, you know.
Well, it's the point that we know it's not good for us.
Right.
It's not because that there's a stigma around it like people have around marijuana,
Right.
right?
Well, no.
And that is a medicine. And alcohol, I learned at the Chinese Medicine University, is the hottest herb that we put in our body. It literally burns the insides of our intestinal walls. And yet all of the media says, look how much fun we're having. It's incredible. So we're going to normalize the things that I hope we can all agree on should be normalized. And hopefully I've seen a trend, at least, that younger folks aren't drinking.
Well, we've seen a friend of ours have to shut down his alcohol establishment, even seltzers. And they just weren't selling like they were. The kids aren't drinking much anymore.
Mocktails, friends. I mean, sincerely, we still love nice, good drinks.
I'm drinking a strawberry lemonade right now.
Well, all right.
Uh-huh.
I love your swag, by the way.
Those stickers.
Those are stickers?
Stickers.
That's so cool. I literally could talk to you guys all day. I say this every time. So before I do that to you, is there anything that we haven't talked about that you would like to make sure that we cover.
We do microdose Sunday mornings. Usually that's part
What
of
is the name
we're
of the
covering
club
this.
again? Because I love the name.
Society of the Sacred Stoned Apes.
The Outdoor Forest.
Oh, that one.
The Outdoor Forest
Forest
Adventure Club.
Yeah.
OFAC. OFAC, Outdoor Forest Adventure
So that's a
Club.
branch off somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This is regular. We don't force anybody into this. The OFAC is when somebody's too down in the dirt to get up out of their bed or get up off the couch, and we just go snatch them up and take them. But yeah, this is a regimen.
No, they just tricked me into buying a bike, an e-bike, because I thought
He wasn't
I
supposed
was
to ban
banned.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And then figure out that, we drive in top the hills and we drive down them really fast. So
Mhm.
e-bikes don't help you go down.
No, you
They
don't.
can go faster.
So in the name of
This
science,
is good.
every once in a while, Ken has tried DMT and biking.
No way.
Not worth
No
Not
way.
something we're going to suggest.
Never. Sometimes we try everything, but just one,
I do the science, so you don't have
yeah,
to. And yes, ayahuasca, yes. DMT, I'm not with mountain biking.
That's
We got a buddy Clayton who came up with the term microdosing because he regularly takes mushrooms and bikes at a high level,
yeah.
just
Wow.
a sick, insane level. Really talented fella. Going to be doing some work with their people here in about a month and a half or so. I wish for the life of me I could think of what the new name of their foundation
I
is
know
called.
they're going to do a fishing thing,
And then-
fly fishing.
We're going to be there at their bonfire and talk to their people. They're all veterans. So we're going to talk to them about adding psychedelics into what they're doing.
Yes.
Yeah. Clayton came.
We give them a shout out when we do remember that.
Yeah. And when you do, we'll link it below
Okay.
for sure. So we can know
Clayton's a
what
good
comes.
guy.
Yes. That's the good news is that at least in Colorado, it's like when you buy a blue car and then everybody has a blue car. There's a lot of psychedelic groups, but it seems that the cool part is that everybody knows one another and are communicating and advocating for it with one another. And I really appreciate that you guys are bringing this into JMAT in veteran spaces. And I'm just so stoked because I know that it's already going, but I just built the revolution and you guys are like right in the middle of it. How cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, our passion continues to be working for the veterans and for the recovery people.
Yeah.
That's what got us both into this.
Yep.
So we're going to keep plugging into the people where we can relate to.
Yeah.
Well, that's what this whole movement, the psychedelic movement with mushrooms was supposed to be about in Colorado, was to help the veterans. Once it got started, you can't afford to help veterans if you're paying $3,500 to do a mushroom session.
Right.
It's crazy.
This is more effective and more accessible. Listen, financially accessible. And then time frame too. Like we always say, it's 6 minutes of meditation with no intoxicating after effects. Whereas mushrooms, ketamine, so many of the other options, Ibogaine, all of those are really long amounts of time for what it takes to get it there.
Thank you for making sure that we highlight that. So for folks who don't know, if you were to choose to go and see Donnie or Ken in the Infinite Healing Apothecary Wellness Center, you go in and you can expect to be able to drive away within the hour, correct? By the
Within the
time
half
that you've
hour.
done within the half hour.
Once you get dementia.
And we're super confident. Super confident that we can release people and they're completely safe afterwards. The doctors are
Which is wonderful. And the dementia patients, the Alzheimer's patients, very near and dear to my heart. I can't wait to have you guys back. I want to talk more about that and the research possibilities because I know it's in the future for you already. But I know
You reverse the death's dementia.
completely reversed it.
Who's?
My own father.
Really?
My own father, we reversed his dementia. I've argued with doctors about this because they're like, you can't reverse dementia. And I'm like, come meet him. Meet the people around him who say that he couldn't talk for 18 months or so. He was just completely catatonic. And then come talk to him and see that he's fully tuned into your conversation.
Get them to shut up.
Yeah.
That's
He was at the event last night.
Last night.
Just being a clown coming up going, oh, I should be over at the bar.
Oh,
Enough like that.
how cute. That's incredible.
Right.
I mean, it's not a joke, right? When we talk about that market, and this is, I guess, why I'm like, don't worry, guys, it'll all be fine. Because I think about the corporate breakdown that's going to happen when there are no longer Alzheimer's patients. We're talking about a corporate structure that keeps elite folks happy and warm in their beds, right?
Yeah.
And so this is going to shake things up a bit, but for all the right reasons. And I'm so grateful to know that it is from a fighter background that the warriors are coming to the forefront saying, no, we actually care. And so we're even more passionate about it, right? With the empathy piece, just to play on that a bit. But it's encouraging.
You're very fortunate, very grateful.
Yeah. And that awareness of the big things you're doing, I can't imagine. Like just, being in the shower, like, oh, crap, my dad doesn't have dementia.
We see some pretty crazy stuff. And we work with quite a few dementia and Alzheimer's patients. And Parkinson, TBIs, like I showed you the lady in the video.
We've seen the lame use their arms. We've seen the lame walk again. We've seen people who didn't have much sight that see now.
Yep.
All from that we can directly attribute to doing this type of treatment.
And we weren't looking for that. We were just trying to get people calmed down.
Right.
That was the thing. Anxiety, stress, anger.
Nervous system regulation.
We didn't know how much it worked for pain management either. I mean, amazing.
A lot of it, we started offering all these people as in, okay, that's what you're dealing with, right? Sight's gone, at least your arm's gone, you're in chronic pain. Let's at least get you to where mentally and psychologically you can at least accept your situation. That was all we were looking for. Are you okay with where you're at? Because we knew that this medicine does that for sure. That's one of the biggest features of this whole thing is no matter where you're at, even if you're on death's doorstep, we've seen people be like, you know what? I'd just be okay exiting at this point, man. I'm going to this beautiful place. And in offering it on that level, then we start seeing these symptom relief situations on things that we never would have guessed, right? Things that we're still looking for what this doesn't work on. Time and time again, we give it to somebody for the psychological relief, and something about relieving their psyche gives them relief of the symptoms of whatever their disease or whatever their physical malady is.
Okay, can I get like woo-woo nerdy on you for a
Yes,
second?
please.
You both know that I do energy work.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a certified Reiki master teacher, which I have a hard time with the name, but it just means I've sat in a room for a long time with a lot of good folks. But it dropped in for me during meditation, really just today, no joke, that I have been gifted a new energetic template, right? So when we work on ourselves, if you will, just be playful with me for a moment, we can look at our energy body and how it is currently constructed with all of our patterning and conditioning, right? And then energy practitioners will do sometimes what they call a grid revamp, if you will, or like they'll help you get rid of some templating. But to be able to know how to step into that, why I'm bringing this up is because it seems that the medicine clears out all of the programming from the neural network, the default mode network. But from an energetic standpoint too, being able to accept that there's a new way that I can live and that I can be embodied. And it's a choice. And that is terrifying. I'm still integrating this and I may or may not keep it in, but I was just like, I have to vibe and tell you guys.
I think you should keep it in.
It's
I think
cool.
we need to talk about that more and more and more.
Yeah.
Because these are energies that science is just now catching out to, right?
Right.
Some of them we can just barely measure now, but for the most part, we still don't measure.
No,
And we
don't.
know
We
they
can't.
exist.
Mhm.
There's workers like you and us who can detect those energies and
Yeah.
work with them.
Right.
Color holding space, right?
Sure.
And we're just sitting in the room trying to create this bubble of
Container.
toroidal energy around and share it with everybody. And science, no, that doesn't exist because I can't measure that on an MRI. So
Right.
there's no way I can recognize that.
We need a graphic right here of that. I was explaining to a friend last week sometime about how that energy cycles in a loop so that if you feel like you're giving it out, remember, it always comes back in and through and out. And it's a currency, right? We have to be careful with our currency and where we are giving it to. And you guys are making sure that people are being intentional about taking advantage of today, this moment right now. because we only have that and we only have so much of that currency. So use it wisely.
Yes. That's the best thing about DMT. It makes us, we're present. When we come out of it, we're present. We're not hyper focused on the past. We're not thinking about the future. We're in the present to where we can feel love and feel grateful.
Yeah. Such a gift. My goodness. Well, thank you both for your time.
Thank you.
Sincere.
Thank you, Ravyn.
I hope that we can continue this conversation as you progress in the spaces that you're working in. I know that it'll continuously be busy. Maybe I'll just start calling you around.
Just come down. Just come.
I should do, yeah. Well, thank you. And folks, for those of you who are curious, want to learn more, you can plug into knowledge of
Society of the Sacred Stoned Apes.
Made it difficult on purpose.
but you can plug into this network of folks and you can get in touch with Donnie or Ken or Bo in Canyon City. And until next time, guys, again, thank you for making time out of your busy schedule to be here to have what I find to be such a rich conversation.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. Until next time.